In this module, we're going to read JSON data from the internet using the requests package, and we're going to see how to install the requests package with pip. Up until this point, we've created our own data or used data local to our own computer. Let's now make a program that needs to get current data from the internet. Some exciting data that is openly available is the current people in space. Let's make a program that retrieves this data and then lists the current people in space. So if we ran our program, it would make an HTTP request or a web request to the web server for the website that stores this space data at api.opennotify.org/astros.json. Then the website would respond with the current people in space, and our program would print those people to the screen. If you're not familiar with an HTTP request, HTTP is how you communicate with web servers that host websites on the internet. You send a request to view a certain site, like pluralsight.com, for example. Then the web server can return HTML that is then displayed as a web page in your browser. Some websites return raw data, and usually that raw data is returned under the API, which stands for Application Programming Interface, for the website. For instance, Twitter has an API at api.twitter.com. In this case, an HTTP request is sent to the web server, and the HTTP response is returned, but now raw data, in JSON format in our case, is returned, and then different applications can do different things with that data. The program we're making is going to read the raw data and list the current people in space. JSON is a data format that is usually used to exchange data to and from a web server. We've actually seen what JSON format looks like. It's typically a mix of lists and dictionaries. So if you remember our previous demo using student contact information, we've actually seen what JSON looks like. JSON stands for JavaScript Object Notation because JSON started in the JavaScript programming language, but now it can be used in any programming language, including Python. Since we're already familiar with the JSON format using dictionaries and lists, now we just need to figure out how to actually get the JSON data. To do that, we need to do an HTTP request in Python. If you do a web search for Python HTTP request, the first result should be for the requests library. The requests library lets us do an HTTP request, which is what we want. But requests is not installed with Python, so we need to install it ourselves. We haven't installed Python packages yet, but there's a handy tool called pip that comes installed with Python. Let's check if we have pip installed correctly by opening a terminal and typing pip-version. If you're on a Mac and have Python 3 installed, the command will be pip3-version, but on Windows, pip-version should work. If it doesn't print out the current version like I have here, then you'll need to add pip to your path variable. Now we can install the requests package by entering pip space requests. You will need an internet connection for this since the packages are downloaded from the internet. And you'll see some output related to the packages downloading, and then finally you should see successfully installed requests followed by the latest version number. Now that the request package is installed, we can use it in a program. Before we can use requests, we need to know where we want to request data from. Open-notify.org is the website that has the information about the API we'll be using. And we can see it lists the API address as api.open-notify.org/astros.json. And that JSON at the end helps us know that it returns data in JSON format. The website even shows the format of the JSON that will be returned. There will be a message if the request was a success. There will be a number for the number of people in space, and then there will be a key, people, for the list of people in space, where each person is listed with their name and spacecraft name. Now we're ready to start our program, and we'll start by importing the requests module. Then we can call the requests.get method and pass in our HTTP address. and we want to save the result to a response variable. Then we'll call the response.json method to decode the JSON from the response, and we'll save the result to a variable named JSON. Now we can print the JSON variable, and we see the JSON data we were expecting. We can see that the JSON is stored as a dictionary with the keys that we mentioned earlier. But how do we get the inner list of people so that we can print out only the names of the people to the screen? We can start by trying the people key that points to that list of people dictionaries. Let's print that list and see what we get. We'll use a for loop over that list by using the JSON variable with the key people. Then the loop variable will be called person. Then inside the loop, we'll print each person. We can see that each person is a dictionary with the astronaut's name and their spacecraft's name, but we just want to print that name part. So we'll use that person variable followed by the key name to get just the name part of the dictionary. If we run the program again, we can see we got what we wanted. We're able to print the names of the people in space. Finally, let's also add a heading that says the people currently in space are. And now if we run this, we see our program is complete. Now let's practice what we've learned about JSON, pip, and the request package in the demo.